As you can see, this Amananthia is in full flower and is looking absolutely beautiful. But there are a lot of jobs that we've got to do at this time of year. So I'll take you through a few of those and show you what we're going to be doing in this month's show. Well, the forsythia has nearly finished flowering, and as you can see, we have some lovely green leaves coming out on here. And when the green leaves come out on the forsythia, that means it's time to cut down the hybrid tea roses and give them a really good cut back to give a nice flower for this year. So that's a job we're going to show you in this show. Also, just down here, show you something tragic that's happened. Well, the frost has taken the cordyline. It's in a really, really sad state. So hopefully this is going to survive, but we're going to cut it down and see whether we can get some new growth growing from further down the stem on there. A couple of the other things that we're going to go through in today's show, we're going to be harvesting some rhubarb. Yum, yum. Very, very nice. And just showing you some of the general tidying, clearing up preparations we're doing. We've got some lovely veg growing in the greenhouse, and we're going to be transferring some into the polytunnel, and we're going to be preparing for a really, really good harvest this year. So there's lots and lots and lots of things I really want to share with you in today's show. So without any further ado, as they say, welcome to May in a Year Gardening. Back to the greenhouse, and at this time of year this is a hive of activity. You'll have seen some of the stuff that I've started to plant down here. I'm going to show you today the transplanting of peas into a trough, the first lot of peas. Courgettes are doing very, very well, and the gladioli, they are now ready to plant out. You can see the roots here all coming through the pots, so they're ready to go out into the garden. I've got my beans and petunias and bits and pieces all coming along at the back here, and I've got a lot more seeds ready to go into the ground. We've got tomatoes coming on. It's all looking a lovely time of year. So the first thing I'm going to do down here is I'm going to show you what I'm doing with my toilet roll peas. Well, these are the first peas that I planted into the toilet rolls, and as you can see, with all the roots coming through the bottom, these are now ready to plant out. So all I will do is I will split these up into an individual toilet roll, and then I plant the whole lot straight into the trough. And I only had 5 germinate out of the 7 that I planted in the first trough there. So we'll get those in a few inches apart. Nicely into here, just fill the soil in around, and then once I've done this I will top up the compost on the top. Some really lovely roots on these. I think they're going to do really well. Mark those in nice and firm. Another one over the back here. And one more will give us the 5, which is plenty for a trough this size. We keep plenty of feed going in on them as well. Wonderful. Just make sure they are firmed down around. Give a little bit of support to each plant. And then I'm just going to take some more multi-purpose, and just fill over the top here. There's a little bit of feed in this new compost. It'll last for a couple of weeks, and then once that's done through, we'll start adding just some general purpose feed, some liquid seaweed, something like this, to keep the plants nice and healthy and growing, leading towards a nice harvest later this year. So there we go. 5 nice pea plants planted up into their container, and these will come up onto the patio to grow, maybe onto the steps, something along those lines. But yes, really looking forward to that. Once they grow a little bit more, we'll just pinch the tops out a little bit, make them bush a little, and then we'll get much more growing plant. And then we'll add some stakes and some string, because the pea itself just twines onto something. It doesn't actually climb. You need to give it some support, and so we'll have some string on that as well. So other things that I've got growing in here, I've got my Sonettis growing at the top over the back there. I've got my 2 lovely blueberry bushes. I've also got my blackcurrant and the Philadelphias that I planted the other week. Just show you those now. Well, you'll remember these plants from a couple of weeks ago. So these are the blueberries, and I'm just getting some signs of growth on those. This is the blackcurrant, looking very, very healthy, and the Philadelphias is growing ever so well. And these are going to be ready to go out into the garden very, very shortly. So they're going to be just adding to the lovely colour and variety of plants that we've got growing in the garden. So now it's time for me to move out of the greenhouse and show you a couple of bits outside. But I will be carrying on in here, planting about another 20 trays of seeds. Well, welcome back to the soft fruit border. And as you can see, the rhubarb is looking absolutely superb. And this is the time for eating our rhubarb. But also, whilst I'm here, you can see the raspberry canes that I cut down. They're all growing through lovely. Strawberries going in between, and that's superb. But it's time for us to look at this rhubarb. Now, I have got this can on the bottom here as a falser, but that's really forced this rhubarb through. So we're just going to pull a few pieces. All that one's broken, but let's see if we can get our hand down inside. Oh, there's a lot of rhubarb in there. Let's pull that off. That's how you want your rhubarb to come out. Nice little toe on the bottom. Look how beautiful that looks. This is going to give us some lovely rhubarb pie and some rhubarb crumble. Oh yes, how pink and gorgeous that is. That's going to give us that lovely sweetness and tartness at the same time. Some of this is actually broken here. That's been the wind, but let's not let that destroy our enjoyment of the fruit. And get down inside. We don't want too much. We only want to make a couple of pies. Some of this is broken in the wind, but we can tidy this up. The one thing you don't want to do though is cut your rhubarb. You've got to pull the rhubarb, because if you cut it, you can put disease and things into the plant. So let's just see, this one here is broken in the wind as well, but we'll get down inside shortly. Right, we should be able to lift this off now. Oh, no, still a little bit too much there. There's another nice piece there. If we can lift that off. Look at that. Oh, beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Now we can lift another couple of pieces off here. So this is going to make some lovely tarts, some lovely crumble. We've got a little bit that's just about to shoot here, so we're going to get rid of that. We won't eat that piece. And that's coming off. We won't eat that piece either. And then we'll just bring ourselves a couple of nice pieces of rhubarb. What a lovely harvest. So I'm going to carry on bringing in some rhubarb, tidy this down. This will give us another crop in a couple of months' time as well. So happy days with the rhubarb. Time for us to go and have a look at the roses. Well, it's time to have a look at the roses here, and in order to give this a lot of nice growth next year, we want to bring these down. I'm going to bring these down to a growth. So we're taking them right down to, I don't know, 5 or 6 inches up. Nice growth there. So we're right down. This one here we'll just take down to there, and we're going to bring it down, removing anything dead, anything that doesn't look very nice. Take this one out from here, and remembering that our new plants and our new flowers grow on the new growth. So we've got a little bit of old and dead in here, and we're going to remove all of that. There. And just take that down. There. Got a couple of weeds just coming through here. I need to get rid of those. On the apple tree here, I've got some lovely blossom coming. And so I'm looking forward to this. This is the Golden Delicious that I put in. And I have a little sycamore growth there, so we'll get that one out as well. But generally, we're taking these roses down to a sensible height where we've got growth. I'll take that one off there. And I'm just taking it down to the next growth. I'm not taking it down as far as I would possibly like to, but this will allow the plants to grow and give me lots and lots of lovely flowers and scent. It's absolutely gorgeous as they come through. And that we've got some really dead on here, so I'll take that one out. But anything that shows no signs of life really needs to go. Now we'll take that down to that growth here. Off with the dead. That's all dead there. We're going to take that down to that growth here. And in the middle, I think we've got just a couple of more dead bits on here, or there. Take that down to that lovely growth there. And another dead bit. As you can see, we're already tidying these and shaping them to give them a nice growth. Got some real work to do over the back here. Weeds that are coming through from the neighbouring alleyway. So I need to get in there and dig all that. That's going to be quite a job. Something to enjoy though. Well, this beautiful peach tree, the blossom is absolutely superb, and contrasted with the beautiful vibrant red robin on this side, it's absolutely giving us some beautiful colour. But I will tell you, just over here in the privet, which you can just see at the side there, you may have noticed a little picture of a robin I put earlier on, and that is where they are nesting, and over the next day or two the babies are going to fledge. So the garden is full of life in many, many different forms. But now we're going to do a little bit of work in the front garden. Well, welcome back to the front garden, and I've just got some of the lovely gladioli from the greenhouse, and I'm going to start by using my bulb planter and making sure these are nice and deep in the ground. They do need a good bit of depth because the height they grow to. And we'll just pop this plug out of here, and we're going to fill in around that plant there. give these a nice chance to give a good background. Now, these are a white and a blue mix, and I'm going to cover the front of this then with some red pelargoniums, and we'll have a rather patriotic display for the year coming up. Just lift that plug out of there, get another one of these. The roots are all nicely through the bottom, and we'll just pop that in there, and then again fill in over the top of the plant. I'm going to be planting around about 15 into this little area here, and then some more over underneath the front window. And in the forthcoming shows, we'll be going over to the bin area where I've got some timber. We're going to be building the front for a new border, and then putting in some shrubs and things to hide the bins off from the road. So I'm going to carry on with getting these into the ground now, and then I think we're just about it for the show for today. Well, that brings us to the end of this little show, and as we prepare for the coronation of our sovereign King Charles, I've been trying to get the front garden tidied up a bit. There's a lot of work to do there, but it's starting to get there, and in the next show I will show you the new border that I put behind the dustbin area, so that that's screened off from the road completely. Now, I hope you've enjoyed what we've done today with the moving of some seeds, the pruning of the roses, and I always prune my roses, especially the hybrid tea roses, when the leaves on the forsythia come out. So the yellow flowers die, the leaves come out, and that's the time that I do my roses. So there's lots going on in the greenhouse and things, and I've got lots of work to do. Now, just behind me you may see here, you might remember when I planted these little things, this is the rowan tree, and there's another one just over here, absolutely beautiful, and this is the back end of the woodland border, and how full it is looking. It's absolutely fantastic. The apple trees are fantastic, and I've also taken a few photographs of some of the plants around the garden, which I'll share with you in the closing titles. But the apple tree that I planted in deference to my grandpa at the bottom of the garden, which is a Golden Delicious, that's in full flower, and I only planted that last year in the Peace Garden, as you remember. So I'm so pleased that it's so covered in blossom, and it looks like it's going to be a very, very healthy plant growing forward. So thank you very much for your time today. I do apologise that this is a little bit late coming out, but I did have some major internet issues, and my new computer for some reason does not wish to connect to Wi-Fi anymore. So I've had a hardwired service to the garden room installed, and now we have hardwired internet from the house to the garden, which makes a big difference and will make things a little easier going forward. So that's it for this show. So next time we're going to be in the front garden doing that new border. We're going to be separating some seedlings and planting those on, and it's just such a joy that the sun is out, it's warming up, the days are longer, and people have got smiles on their faces when the sun comes out. So with deference to the coming weekend and the coronation of our new king, we're going to be having a street party in our little road, and I'm sure up and down the country, many, many thousands of other streets are going to be doing exactly the same thing. And, well, it's just a joy. So I'm going to leave you today with just a couple of words, as I normally do, which is stay safe, be kind to each other, happy gardening, and with a little drop of Cabernet Sauvignon Cheers. Happy gardening.